my name is Daryl, and this is Programming in Any Language. We are working with C# right now, but the principles are the same in all languages. Master these principles, and you can easily jump to any other language quickly. Ready to use some coding? We've got the basics of our form in place. Let's code. Before we can do any math, we need to get this application generating two random numbers that we can use to do the math. That's going to require the use of the random number generator. But it's also going to require that we set up a maximum for the random number to generate. Bringing the random number generator to our code is very similar to adding an object to our form. The obvious difference is that we can't see the random number generator. It's invisible. It's an object with no visible properties. So basically, we can call it and give it a name. Rand, bozo, number, number popper, whatever. Then when we make use of the generator, we'll assign whatever it comes up with to an integer. This is what we will use to display on the form. But what range of numbers do we want? We're going to let the user decide that. The random number generator generates numbers from 0 up to, but not including the max number you declare. In other words, if you want to generate random numbers from 0 through 10, you will need to set 11 to the max. 11 numbers. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. That could be a little confusing to the user, but there is an easy way to take the confusion away from the user. Watch this.
Okay, we're working ourselves into this application, this flashcard application. We're going to do a little bit of the coding right now. We've got the exit button coded already. We took a look at that, but we're going to be able to add some numbers into here so we can create an answer here, and that's going to require some variables, and it's going to require that random number generator, which I want to show you how to use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead into my exit button here. Actually, I'm just going to the code button. I can just jump right in there. We can see the code is sitting right up in here. What I want to do now is I'm going to require having some variables that I'm going to need. I'm going to put them right up in here under the public partial class piece. So it's above everything else. That means that every other method down here will be able to see the value of what's inside these variables. And I'm going to create an int max number. Now I'm using the same name. Let's go ahead and I want to call it int max number, as a matter of fact, int, because I want to keep a Hungarian notation style on this thing. I'll put a semicolon after this. I'll tab out and I'll just say holds max for random number generator. Then I'm going to create an int called int first number, and that's going to auto generated first number. It's going to appear in that first label. And int second number, which I'm going to label as auto generated second number. And finally, we're going to have an answer out there, so I'm going to have int answer, and this will be we'll just call this is holds computed result or answer. That's probably a better word to use right there. So what I've done is I've created these four variables. Notice they're dim right now because they're not being used in the program at all. So they're there, but there's no errors showing up at this point in time. But these are the variables I'm going to use. Now what I need to do is I need to actually make all this kind of stuff happen. Now what I've done, int max number, first number, second number, third number, it relates very much to the properties that I call here. I call this thing, as you can see, first number, second number, answer, and this one, max number. We've got our start button right here. The start button is going to be required to actually make all this stuff work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my start button, double click on it to create an event, and I did name it button start, so I'll double click on this, and that creates an event right here. And what I'm going to do with this thing, I'm going to give it a name that it's going to enter an integer for maximum number to be generated. gives me a little clue as to what it's going, gives other programmers the idea of what's actually happening here. And then I'm going to create a try-catch block to actually do this. I want to try something, and this is the way I like to do this. I like to say try and put my braces here, and then right underneath it I'm going to put a catch. And hit enter. I kind of like it to show up on the down below here, so I'm going to actually go ahead and click on this so it's like that, and then set it up like this. That gives me my braces like this. So what's happening is I've created a block. This is what I want to try and do if I'm successful. If something goes wrong, I want it to catch or give me an answer. And so the catch is going to be simply give me a message box. It's going to say message box dot show, and it's going to say invalid entry, enter an integer. So I'm giving instructions to the user to do this, and I'll put a semicolon or semicolon in that statement here. So what I want to do is I want to bring in a number that the user is going to actually enter in this form here, which is this guy right here. We're going to put some number in there. If he types in ABC, that's illegal. So I want to be able to stop that. So my code instead is going to try whatever is there. If something goes wrong, it's going to say enter an integer, and it'll retry again until the person does it correctly. So what I also might want to do then is actually, now let's leave it for now. Let's leave this stuff for now and fix that up in a second. Let's go ahead and do the try catch real quickly. So I'm going to say, first thing I'm going to do is I want that max number to come in. That's this guy right here. So we're going to bring it in by saying int max number is equal to int dot parse txt max number dot text plus 1. Why plus 1? Well, I'll give you that as soon as we look at the random number piece that we're going to be doing into this thing. So what this does, it goes ahead and gives me a number, and I want to use it to create a random number generator. Now, random number generators create numbers between 0 and a number you designate. So if you designate the number 10, you're going to get random numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No 10 is going to show up there. It's going to give you 10 numbers from starting with 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So by saying max number plus 1, it allows the user to enter 10. I'll add 1 to it, so it's really 11, and I'm generating 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or basically 11 numbers, 0 through 10 is what's actually happening there. We'll see that in a moment. So what I want to do, now that I've got this thing in place and I've got this try here, we can go ahead and if it's successful, we'll end up with a number in here. And that'll work just fine. We won't see any effect. This will work now. If we go ahead and save all and run it, we can see that we can enter 100 and hit start, and nothing happens. It works perfectly fine. If we happen to put in a bunch of letters in here and hit start, it comes up and gives us an error message, enter an integer. It tells us what to do. So this kind of controls what we've actually got here. Boy, it would be nice if this actually cleared for itself and sets you back there, wouldn't it? Because what you're doing here, if you happen to type in the wrong thing, hit start, you get the message, but you don't get back to this. So let's go ahead and do that real quickly. We'll go back to our start button. Oops, we got to kill the program first. Go to our start button, and once we've got this message box here, let's go ahead and finish this guy off and say, well, you know, let's take that text max number dot text and make it equal to double quotes, because what they put in there was garbage anyway. So let's clear it out, and then let's go ahead and set the user at the focus right at that point in time. So that's going to help that little piece there. If we save this and we run it, our program now we can enter garbage and hit start, get a message telling us it's wrong, hit OK, and it clears it off and puts us right back there. Now we can type in the word 10, and it's happy as a clam. It actually works there. So that's great. That's great to see. So that's working now. Our catch piece is done. Now we can go ahead and continue with our max. We know we've got this in memory someplace. At least we believe we do. We're now going to go ahead and generate the random numbers. I'm going to go ahead and just go down here a little bit, and I'm going to say / generate random number. And to do that, you have to set up the random number generator. So you do that by saying random, and we can call it anything, random, bozo, whatever. I'll just call it rand. So we've got a variable that's called rand here, and we'll make that equal to a new random. That creates the object that's going to be creating our random number generator. Now we can actually create two random numbers. We can simply say int first number is equal to rand next int max number. And then we can say int second number is equal to rand next int max number. And we don't want this in there. We do want that, and we want the semicolon right after this. And we're good. That creates the two random numbers that we're working with here. We can't see them yet, but they now are in the variables. So what we'd like to do next is display those numbers. So we'll display numbers. And what we'll do is we'll say LBL first number, which we've labeled the same kind of context, is equal to, or dot text, is equal to int first number to string. And LBL second number dot text equal to second number to string. And that basically puts those pieces in there. We're probably doing some more with this code right now, but this is enough to give us a display of what's actually going to happen here. I'll save my program and I'll hit start. And there's our program ready to go at this point in time. If we put it in garbage, it doesn't let us do anything. But it clears it off and allows us to do something nice. Now we can hit the word 10, number 10, and hit start. And we get numbers popping up here. Well, we have a problem with size here. We certainly should increase that to make that look a little better, and then we'll be in good shape. Let's go ahead and do that to our properties. We'll make these bold and 20. Do the same with this one. And I'm assuming our answer is looking a little ugly too. So we'll put that in there and adjust that particular property. Try and run it again. Do a start. The program comes up. Let's go 100 this time and generate something between 0 and 100. 22 and 25 looks just nicer now. We can actually see something there. So if we added those together, we'd have 47. If we subtract them, we'd have -3, and so on the line. So we're at the point now where we can start thinking about how we're going to actually make this thing work. We're going to need some operation buttons maybe over here to make this all happen. We did see that before in our design, so we'd like to put something in there to make this work. But right now, this is starting to look pretty good.
So our program now displays a set of numbers for our user to use in addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. If the user looks at the two numbers displayed, he or she can add them up in their own memory. Think 2 plus 2. In our minds, that's 4. But then they need to be able to let the program do the calculation so they can compare their answer with the computer's computed answer. Yep, I was right. 2 plus 2 is 4. That's going to require math, coding, but it's going to require some buttons to execute that coding. And these buttons need to be customized so they look good on our form. We'll do that in the next video. What you need to take out of this video is 1. An understanding that random number generators are generated from 0 up to the number you declare. Your number is not inclusive. 2. You need to create an instance of the random number generator and give it a name. And 3. Actually generate the random number and store that number in a variable so we can use it. Now that we're actually creating our 2 random numbers, we can continue writing the application by setting up some buttons to actually take us to the math coding. We will do that in the next video. See you next time. Thanks for watching. If you get a chance, please subscribe. We'll see you in the next video. Take care, everybody.